What did you get from the Jacksonville tape last week? I mean, that was obviously a big win today.
Yeah, just really good as far as defensively, good pressure on the passer. 19 pressures, 4 sacks, very disruptive, good mix of coverages, good mix of, blitz zone stuff that they do, good players, good front, play the run well. We know everybody knows we respect this team. We've had good battles with this team in the time that we've been here, so a lot of respect for them coming in.
Frank, aside from maybe Peanut Tillman, have you ever seen a player with the ability that Darius has as far as punching the ball out?
I don't think I have. I think Darius's ability to punch the ball out is a unique trait. There have been some guys, along the road, the corner from the Bears who was really good at that. A couple guys like that. But certainly, right now, I think he's the best in the NFL at it.
Frank, have you decided on who will kick for you this week?
We're going to stay put right now. We're still continuing to evaluate Rod, and Badgley, he's kicking well, and Rod's still working to get back to 100%. So we'll continue to evaluate that.
TJ Terry working his way back in. What does that mean for the secondary?
Yeah, I'm expecting to see TJ out there today, unless something happens here crazy. But, obviously with the return from him from IR, and then we'll evaluate him during the week. I think the plan right now is to get him 2 days of work this week, practice Wednesday and Friday, and then with TJ, and then see where he's at.
Carson was just talking about just evaluating the offense, and he said the big takeaway for him is just like scoring points. You guys are scoring at a pretty good clip. What do you think has fueled that specifically?
A couple things. I think the defense taking the ball away. You just get 1 or 2 short fields. You get 1 or 2 short fields a game and you score. That's a big deal. It's all of a sudden, it turns a 24-point game into a 30-point game, and we all know the 30-point games mean something. So, so a credit to the defense. Special teams continues to play well and give us solid field position. But then I really think the biggest thing is the improvement in the red zone. We started out the year, as everyone knows, atrocious in the red zone. And then, in the last number of weeks, we've just been really good in the red zone. And even the couple times that we didn't score were, whether it's a 2-minute drive and we just ran out of time or stuff like that. But we don't take it for granted. That's a big deal down in there. But the guys have been executing well in the red zone. Marcus and the offensive staff have done a good job of scheming some things up and, putting players in a good position.
Frank, when you looked at the red zone struggles early, was there anything that jumped out? Was there anything that you were able to figure out, or was it just?
Yeah, it was never one thing like that's normally the case. So we just kind of kept harping on, run our stuff, continue to try to scheme it up in a way to put the players in the best position, and then, their responsibility is to execute it. As coaches, we take that personally. When we're not doing good in an area, we're not like, okay, well, just execute better. We're like, we got to do better. And so, but I think it's been a combination of both those things. I think we've gotten better, figuring out, with the players that we have this year, and what do we need to do down there to be more efficient. And then I think the players have done a good job of executing better.
Frank, it feels like, or maybe it sounds like, could be just me, but that it's Badgley's job to lose, in that as long as he's making kicks, you're not going to make a change, A, and B, how much longer is his range than Blankenship?
I think their range is pretty similar. That's my guess. That's an educated guess. I think it's probably about the same. That's a fair way to put it. We haven't, as far as his job to lose, you got a guy who hasn't missed, and why not ride it out? We really haven't had that full-blown discussion at this point. It really has been, by and large part, based on, Rod's continuing to get back and get better, but we've been afforded the luxury of not having to push it because of how Badgley's kicking.
Does it feel like a mini 4-game season here ahead of the bye? What do you want to accomplish over the next month?
Yeah, no, we have talked about that. We had this mini bye, now we got 4 games and then another bye and then 4 games. So, of course, it all starts with 1-0, right? We know that. But what we want to accomplish is the ability to focus each week to get better and then just continue to get better. I mean, that's what I'm most excited about with our players is the commitment to get better as the season goes on. We know that's what it takes. Those are the teams that can make the most noise at the end, and that doesn't just happen because of time progressing and the season progressing. It happens because of a real commitment to work, to come to practice, whether we're in a walkthrough or a jog through or full speed. There's a certain mentality and standard that we have to want to try to get better, and that's always going to be how we feel around here.
Frank, any update on the elbow for Brady?
Yeah, no update. I mean, he won't be out there today. It's not looking like he's going to be out there today. But I'm fairly optimistic we'll be okay. But we're continuing to evaluate.
This week, fairly optimistic.
You said you don't want to compare Carson to when he was in Philly, but at what point this season did you kind of look at him and say, okay, he feels comfortable with this team, with this offense, meaning with the plays he's making out there? Was there a point you kind of looked at him and saw that?
Yeah, Mike, I'm sure there was. I can't pinpoint when it was, but you could definitely feel the confidence growing and the comfort, growing, in the offense and, just taking control, him taking control of what aspects he should as the quarterback and as the leader out there. So confidence in his teammates, confidence in the scheme, confidence in the defense, the whole deal. So, listen, we all know it's not going to be a straight line up. There's always going to be ups and downs, and it's a struggle, man. It's hard every week. It's where you're fighting scratch, and you never know how the game's going to play out. It doesn't matter who you're playing, what you just don't know. That's one of the things, right? That why this game is so great. You just don't know how it's going to play out, and so. The progress that Carson has made, we don't, he and I are talking about it over the weekend a little bit. We don't take anything for granted, man. We're like, have the mindset like we have to prove everything this week, and today. So we'll continue to have that mindset.
Is T.Y. on track to practice today?
T.Y.? Yeah, T.Y. will be out there today.
So he's kind of working his way through the protocol?
Yes.
And one other thing on Braden Smith, you're optimistic he'll practice this week or maybe play Sunday?
Both.
I think we talked about RPOs the other week a little bit, but just to follow up, Carson was just saying like you can't, the defense can't be right. How good of a decision maker has he been in those situations, and what role does that play in you wanting to call more of them?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good decision maker, and it always has been. Like, that's always been a strength from day one. I mean, it was like some guys just, oh yeah, okay, check. I mean, we got to work on it, but check, we got that box covered. I mean, good decision maker and good execution. It's not perfect, it never is, but he's really good on those. And then what motivates us to call him, and again, we don't want to, our kind of philosophy is they're a good weapon, but you don't want to go crazy. And, what's that mix? 4 to 8 a game, somewhere in there. And you just can't do it all the time. It just doesn't make sense. It catches up to you and all that other stuff. So it kind of waxes and wanes as the season goes with what you feel is right and what else you're doing and how does it complement what you've done, what you're planning on doing this week. But I can tell you that Carson every week, as we talk about the call sheet, and later in the week, Marcus and I are always talking about, okay, what are your favorite? He always, he always points to the RPOs. Every one of those, you can call every one of those. I'm good with those. Every week he's done that. So, you always get the green light. You always get the green light on those. But he's good at those.
And you can switch them up, call them out of different sets and all that too, I guess, right?
That's right. And we're constantly changing that up.
How much variation is there in your RPO game in terms of just reads and routes and?
There's a lot. There's, like we talk about, and I won't get into detail, but like 3 different variations of RPOs. Marcus is in charge of all of it. It's really collaborative staff effort, but Scotty Montgomery in particular leads that area. So, that was one of the reasons that, we hired Scotty, coming from the college system. When I had a conversation with him this offseason, I actually called him up to learn about RPOs, to see what he, I didn't even know him, but someone told me he was a good coach and really smart. So, we had a conversation, and I was basically picking his brain, from the college game. And this is when we didn't have an opening, and then all of a sudden we had an opening. When Rathman retired and we had an opening, and then I was like, ooh, I said to Chris, we got to see if we can get this guy. And so he's come here, and Scotty does a great job. He's always continuing to research, keeping in touch with what colleges are doing and what works in the league, what doesn't work, what variations, and then he kind of coordinates that with the rest of the staff under Marcus's leadership.